Hey guys, and welcome to Crosstalk. I'm David Madera, your host, fellow entrepreneur, and biggest fan of a good success story. Here, business stories don't just get told, they come alive. This is your front row seat to the incredible journeys that shape thriving businesses and ministries. Every episode, we sit down with inspiring business owners and ministry leaders to uncover their beginnings, the story behind their brand, and their vision for the future. It's all about real conversations, genuine insight, and a whole lot of inspiration. This week, I sat down with Lynn Weller, the newly promoted director of the Our Town Foundation in Hamburg, and her passion for our community is truly inspiring. Lynn is leading the charge in revitalizing Hamburg and ensuring it remains a vibrant, welcoming place for residents and visitors alike. In this week's episode, you'll learn more about Lynn's journey to becoming the Director of OTF and her vision for Hamburg's future, how the Main Street program is breathing new life into downtown Hamburg with facade improvements, small business support, and community engagement, the vital role OTF plays in preserving and enhancing local gems like the Hamburg Strand Theater and Art and Craft Gallery of Hamburg. Plus, you'll get some behind-the-scenes insights into the Taste of Hamburger Festival and its impact on our community. This episode is packed with inspiration, community pride, and a look at the exciting future of Hamburg. You're not going to want to miss it, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Crosstalk. Today I have the amazing opportunity to sit down with Lynn Weller, who is the newly promoted director of the Our Town Foundation. So, Lynn, when I first met you, was it December? It might have been, it was probably a while ago.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, sometime. And it was at Hazel's Cafe. Shout out to Mal for introducing us and getting us connected. And I knew very little of what the Our Town Foundation in Hamburg did at that time. Now, having a background in working in the Chamber of Commerce and things like that, I was able to pick up on it pretty quickly. But why don't we start out? Why don't you give everybody the opportunity to learn what is the Our Town Foundation?
Our Town Foundation, we do work to support Hamburg through revitalization projects. Our purpose is to preserve, promote Hamburg for, future generations, to, support its growth, to work with the local business. We are recently a designated Main Street program. And that's a big deal because, we're supported by the state, by the National Main Street program as well. We work to, benefit the town, benefit the local community, and, hopefully bring people to Hamburg. So I really enjoy this work because that was something that I did, moving to Hamburg 13 years ago. It was important to me to support the local businesses and to be a part of the town. And now I get to do that professionally, which I really love.
That's great. So how long have you been with the Our Town Foundation and how did you get started?
It's been almost 2 years that I've been, working with Our Town Foundation. However, I did volunteer work before. I used to, I did volunteer to the Hamburger Festival, and we need volunteers. So if anyone wants to get involved, I did parking. I helped out. They used to have an Art of the Brew event. And I did, I just did volunteer work with that. I was on their fundraising committee, and, I just started to get involved with the town and, through Our Town Foundation. And that was when my son was young. So I want to say that was maybe 6 years ago, I think, maybe a little bit before that. Yeah.
Great. So I know you said you moved to Hamburg 13 years ago, started getting involved in the Our Town Foundation 6 years ago. Yeah. What were you doing before moving to Hamburg? Where were you? And then what brought you to Hamburg?
Sure.
Yeah.
Professionally or just like in life?
I mean, if you want to go, if you want to share personal, go ahead personal, but more professional.
I have worked in multiple nonprofit organizations. And so I was working for a small organization. I was the director there to support Twin Valley schools and, programming in, the Twin Valley School District area through a nonprofit called the Twin Valley Community Education Foundation. And that was a really special, place. And I really enjoyed that work. and over time, I had moved, since I had been living in Hamburg, my kids were getting older. I was getting more and more invested in the community, and that didn't feel as the best fit anymore. And I, was able to, kind of, transition and work my way over with our town foundation, which kind of came. I wasn't necessarily looking for something, but I heard that the previous executive director, who just retired, she had announced her retirement and was, looking for someone to kind of train and work with to fill her place. And timing really just worked. It's magic, and everything fit into place. So I feel really lucky. I feel really like I'm in the right spot, which is always a good thing to feel, right? When
Absolutely.
You feel like this was meant to happen. So I worked in many nonprofits, and it brought me here. And one of the things I really enjoy is seeing the economic development side, the things that we do in relation to economic development, and working with the state through their programs. And that has been really interesting and I think exciting.
That's great.
So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, for sure. So having the background in the nonprofits and divine intervention leading you to the perfect timing of being able to start working with the Our Town Foundation. What, other than, I think most people when they see the Our Town Foundation, they see the ribbon cuttings. What are some of the other benefits that businesses can get from being members?
Well, it's really important to me to create a community. I feel like especially when it comes to small businesses, we do better when we're working together. So I like to look at Our Town Foundation as an organization that can facilitate that. And it's been important to me to, like, I've been hosting these business workshops. We've been doing networking mixers again. We've been bringing back all of the ribbon cuttings. And those things, I think, really, when we can get out and support each other, we're all going to succeed. And so that's been really important to me through Our Town Foundation. And also, we have a business membership. So there's different benefits that we can provide. But I think I look at it like a mutual partnership. We're working together, supporting what we're doing at Our Town Foundation to, promote and preserve the town. And revitalization projects, and then also supporting the local businesses through whether it's we have different promotional opportunities and bringing the community together. All those things, I really want to find and work with those businesses out there that want to be a community player, that want to work together to achieve. We have the goals of bringing Hamburg up. And also, bringing your business up, bringing up what, we all want to succeed. I think let's do it together. So that has been, an important factor in what we do and how I like to lead the organization.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that really stuck out to me about you when I first met you was the vision that you cast for Hamburg specifically. And what was funny is when you politely interrupted the conversation I was having with Mal that day. And I do mean that with the bottom of my heart. Like, it was a very polite, like, I think you were talking about the upcoming business meeting anyway. And then what was so ironic about that is Mal and I were actually talking about things to help grow the community. And then you show up and she's like, oh, speaking of the devil, and you showed up, and it was just so fun that's how I got introduced to you for the first time. And then through our conversations, seeing the vision that you have, like it fires me up thinking about what's to come for Hamburg. And more on a different route, the air's different around here, especially in the past year or two. Air's been different. We have a lot of these new businesses showing up that I don't think Hamburg would have ever had before. Talking about stores like Live Holistic, Legata Bakery, I know Thrift and Thrive had was New Life before that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like we've had that store, but even like flipping from 412 to Hazel's as quickly as that happened, and AEC Market, like there's just this small town is starting to get some big town business type models coming here. What do you think's been attributing to the success of these businesses, and then the opportunity for the other businesses to feel like they can come and want to do business here?
Well, I really feel the energy too. I feel, I'm in town, I live in town, I work in town, I spend a lot of time in town, and I feel it. So there's a lot of motivation, there's a lot of potential, and with our town foundation, we do things to spread the word. We do things to make connections, and I think that's important. But what I've seen with these new businesses coming in, and we have a lot of long-standing businesses too that are really valuable and important in town, and I think that they continue to work together, and we can continue to grow that. We don't have a very high vacancy rate of commercial properties, but there are some. So it really takes what we do have is we're seeing that these new businesses coming in are they're doing things to promote themselves really well. They're doing things to work with each other really well. Again, going back to that community mindset. I think that is, and then we have this momentum, and people outside see the potential. Like I really want to, have people across the county, people across Schuylkill County, see and know Hamburg a lot better, and have that, expand and grow outward as well. Like I'm not a Hamburg native. However, I do, like I said, I do live in town, and I am a Berks County native. So I've lived locally, pretty much my whole life. And sometimes, people don't always think of Hamburg first, but I think that that's changing. And, I think that slowly we continue that work to get people to think about Hamburg, see what we're doing. We've been getting some good press lately too. That helps. We continue the Hamburger Festival. That's one thing that every year there's lots of people coming to town. People know what's going on. As an organization, we're trying to work with businesses even outside of just the downtown, to help build those connections and have more people seeing what's happening here. So I think that is, we keep up this work of working together, doing, special promotions and making connections. I think we're going to see and continue that growth. And then the other thing is that when we look in, for the downtown, it's not just about one, like, again, going back to this community, it's not just about one business, but each business is a piece of this puzzle, So again, coming back to when a new business comes in, how does that piece help the total, help the whole town, I think is an important thing to see.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's going to keep growing. I really do.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, because I don't think there's any slowing down with what I've been seeing recently. I think there's a lot of, there, like you said, with the energy level, there's the excitement. And we actually just today got to meet with Elevation Elevation Beauty Studio. Elevation Beauty Studio, and they're opening up. And now there's going to be a beauty salon in Hamburg. And it's in town, more specifically. And there's more business coming, and I'm excited to see what even 1 year from now looks, because if we look back a year ago, I mean, there was a lot of vacant spots. And now a lot of these are getting filled, and not just being filled with anything. They're being filled with, I would say, hungry business owners and hungry people for the community to want to watch this community grow as well, which is, it's really being like an outsider kind of with the Our Town Foundation, because of not having a storefront spot in Hamburg and being able to have relationships with a lot of the business owners and just like looking outside at this big picture. It's like I can see all those pieces coming together and building this just masterpiece that I think is going to blow everybody away in a year or two.
I love that. I think so too. One thing too that we're doing as a foundation is we have a special construction project where we're building a State Street Square, an outdoor event venue, to further bring people to town through events, through special activities, regular things happening. And I really see that as a key piece in the future as well, that people want to come, there's something going on, they want to come, and they take a stroll through the town too. See, now it's, you're adding like all this benefit to, hey, come to Hamburg, do your business in Hamburg, check it out. So I think that's going to have an important piece to play in the future as we continue with the construction and get it ready for regular events.
Yeah, that's great. What other ways, because I know the Outtown Foundation has its hands in a lot of pots in retrospect of the business, I'll call them businesses that you guys are a part of and help promote to kind of keep, as for instance, like the Strand, to keep that in Hamburg and keeping it a movie theater, where we're sitting right now with all this. You want to kind of talk a little bit more about some of the other things that the Our Foundation partners with to really help grow Hamburg?
Yeah, and the Our Town Foundation started, let's say 22, 23 years ago, and it started as a Main Street program, and then over time, grew a lot. So grew to encompass the Hamburg Area Arts Alliance. That's one of our programs, and promoting local art, local artists. We're sitting in the Art and Craft Gallery of Hamburg, which is just filled with, beautiful and unique, paintings and artwork and crafts. So that, we expanded into, the arts and promoting, like I said, local art, within the community and beyond. Then, there was a time when the Strand, the Hamburg Strand was, the future, was unclear, and it was being sold, and, Our Town Foundation, purchased and renovated the Strand and brought it back to life. And now it's really a thriving business that regularly brings in people, for the movies. It's a great family place. I take my family to the Strand very often. We love it. And that's just, something really special about Hamburg. It's like this community hub, and so that's one of our, programs as well, keeping the Strand alive and well in the downtown, and the, economic vitality that brings. Right. And then through, also our, the Taste of Hamburger Festival, that we're just going on the 22nd year of the festival, August 30th. Mark your calendars. And, that's bringing thousands and thousands of people into town. And it's a special homecoming day as well. A lot of the people who do attend are from Hamburg, are, live like locally. There's a big portion of people that are coming, because it's a special homecoming day. It's a special thing that, makes Hamburg unique. Right. Not every place has something like that, Right. So I think we're lucky to have that. And before I was a part of Our Town Foundation, I came downtown for the Hamburger Festival, and my family always really enjoyed it. So, right. Those are other things that we're doing to keep, part of, to keep Hamburg, alive and growing. And those are some of the programs that we do administer. So it is kind of a wide range, but then bringing back to the Main Street program, over the years we've stayed affiliated as a Main Street program, but then just recently, that has grown again, and it's kind of linguistics, but also the words, designated means something,
Right.
if you're in the know.
Yeah.
And that's been really, really special. So we'll be seeing a lot of growth on that program as well.
Okay.
There's certain requirements and things that we have to do as an organization that will, I'm sure will have effects, and people will see, that work as we continue.
Great.
Yeah, it's a 5-year designation period. So,
Oh, wow. Okay.
it just started, and we're, I'm getting things rolling, and it's really, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Not to mention, you might have heard of it, but we also were awarded a facade improvement grant, and so we're, getting that part. It's not currently open for applications, but the very as soon as you can to get that application out there, so that people who live in the downtown, property owners, businesses who want to improve the facade of their building to help just bring a facelift to the town. It's overdue, and I think there's a lot of cool projects I'm hearing about. So we want to get that moving too, as soon as we can. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. So 5-year plan or 5-year designation with the Main Street program. What, for people that might not fully know, what are some of the benefits that come from us being a designated Main Street foundation location?
Having this work done, this is with our town foundation, we are working every day, towards some aspect of revitalizing and improving our town. And not every town has that, so though that is a tall load, that or a heavy load that, we devote to as an organization. So there's certain areas of that the Main Street program covers, whether it's economic vitality, whether it's promotions and marketing, whether it's also through like the look of the town, the design, that facade improvement is one part. There's a structure that happens with a Main Street program. Like there's certain guidelines set up, and so we follow those, and we have a strategic plan that is addressing the areas that we think we've listened to over the last few years. We've listened to input. We've put together this plan that addresses a lot of those areas, and now we, the benefit of having the support through the Department of Community and Economic Development with the state to be able to do those things. And I think that the history that I've heard is, when our town foundation started, there were many organizations around the state that were Main Street programs, and over the years that has dwindled. And I think we're really lucky to have a foundation, like a specific organization working to benefit the town that we live in, the town that we love, the town, and looking towards, again, the future. This isn't just a once and done thing. This is continual work of revitalization, and I think, again, we're really lucky to have that, and I'm lucky to be a part of that.
Yeah. And what would you say your vision is for the Our Town Foundation, being just newly promoted as the director? Where do you see the Our Town Foundation growing to?
Well, in our strategic plan, we identified different strategies, and the strategies are related to being a family-friendly place, to connecting with the multiple resources that we have through like outdoor recreation, through recreational resources, and also through our connections and our momentum with arts, culture, and entertainment. And so when I put those things together and I envision, the town and what we do, I see just a vibrant, downtown that people want to come to, that there are, regular things happening, that we are having, successful, businesses, lots of things for, families to be a part of. I have a young family. That's important to me. But just, playing on our connection, our natural strengths of being a family-friendly town, having lots of, outdoor opportunities, outdoor recreational opportunities, and, again, this like, arts, entertainment, bringing in this culture and just, and growing it. Yeah. That's really what I see. I see, our town working together. I see things, growing, people wanting to be, on the streets and, just enjoying themselves and supporting each other, a real vibrant community. Those things are important to me and what I'm excited about working towards.
Yeah. And I think the cool thing is that we're starting to see that stuff happen already, on a smaller to getting medium-sized scale now, of people wanting to come to Hamburg. People, I think it was, and I just think it was so cool, the story, but I think it was at Lifalistic, somebody came all the way from Sweden.
Oh, wow.
Flew all the way over from Sweden to come here. And
really?
Yeah. Because she wanted to go to that store. But then while she was here, stopped at Hazel's Cafe, went down. Yeah. I think AEC was open at that point. Stopped by AEC, got a whole day planned out. And I'm like, wow, to think would somebody really come all the way from Sweden? But they did. I think it was Sweden. If I'm wrong, Liv will call me out on it. But
from far away,
yeah,
right?
From far away across the ocean. But that's an extreme example. But even seeing, we talked about it and jokingly today that a lot of people from towns around the area are, even if they're not fully moving into Hamburg, they're opening business in Hamburg. And I think we're really starting to see that shift, which is really cool to see. And I'm extremely confident in the vision that you have, because I think this is, for where I think the shift is coming for Hamburg business, I think you came at the perfect time, because you have the right style of leadership to lead this for what's to come next in Hamburg.
Well, thank you. I'm excited about it for sure. And I think that we all can play a part, because it starts with, really, I think the success of our downtown starts with the people who live the closest. Whether you live in town or around town, our goal is, of course, to bring, tourism in, to bring people from, far away to have Hamburg known as a destination. And on, and on some level, that's definitely, maybe that's happening, or, it's possible. But I think we start too with, bringing the locals, recognizing that this is a place that, you can come for what you need. Yeah. You can come for fun, for food, for, your, the things that, you need. Now you can come, for local groceries. There's just a lot of things that you can do downtown, and to make that your first stop, I think that is a really important piece that we can all play. And then also, just looking at the community in general, can we all be a part of the community? And yes, we want people to be invested in the town, in the community, and doing so will have an effect, will lift everyone up. Yeah. So I think we all can play a part where, even if we're not a business owner, we can be a business supporter. We can be coming to town. We can be supporting or even volunteering. I think bringing that in, is going to be a really great foundation. Yeah. And then that's going to allow us to grow out more as well. But it's always been important to me, and especially so now, that if you're someone, listening to this, or someone local, support what you've got. If you want it, support it, right? Yeah. Keep it here, and then we grow too.
Yeah, that's great. And the whole point of when I started my business was our community thrives when small business succeeds. And I think that's why I've been also so drawn towards Hamburg, is because I see that. I see people wanting to grow the community here. I see people supporting other businesses, supporting each other's businesses. And there's some competitive businesses in the area, like of where we have multiple coffee-oriented shops. We've got clothing stores, antique stores. We've got, of course, a boatload of Italian restaurants in the area, like every, I think, successful small town does anymore. But, there's just even with all of that, everybody seems to still be supporting one another because they see that bigger picture that's being drawn out. And I did want to ask, before we get into final questions, how can people follow along with the Our Town Foundation and the work that's being done?
Well, simply, follow online. We're on social media at Hamburg, PA. I think more so, though, we are a volunteer-based organization. So, we do need people who care and who want to get involved, maybe a little step further. There is a place for people to help out. So, talk to me about that. If you're looking for, to get involved more, come out to the events and things that are happening. That's another way. Come out to the ribbon cuttings, come out to the local events that are happening in town, come out to, the big events, come out to the business workshops, support the things that are happening in town. I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And any final thoughts or anything that we didn't get to talk about that you want to make sure gets said before we wrap it up?
Well, I think I've said a lot. Just some big stuff coming up again is our Taste of Hamburger Festival. Support the local businesses that are here, that are around here. Check out, HamburgPA.org for different, local businesses as well. And, support what you want, and if you're driven, to help out more, volunteer, even if it's not for us, but volunteering goes a long way too, to support a community.
Great. Well, it was a pleasure sitting down
thanks,
with you.
David.
I'll let you get back to work now.
Yeah. I think I have a line waiting for me.
Right. If you enjoyed the highlights of today's conversation, drop a like, comment, and share this video so that more people can hear this amazing story. If you want to watch the full 1 hour unedited version, click the link in the description. Don't forget to follow this page to experience even more amazing stories. And remember, our community thrives when local business succeeds. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.